Cowboys at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, gotta get dealt with.
10, 5, and he streaks in. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5, to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
On a day that Dallas dubs homecoming, welcoming in alumni across the board, it was a homecoming spoiled for Dan Quinn. 44-22 the final. Dallas over the Washington Commanders as we welcome you in to Cowboys Game Night from AT&T Stadium, the site of the Cowboys doubling up the Commanders in Week 7 of the NFL season. Alongside former Cowboys Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton still rocking his 61 jersey.
All day, baby.
What are you doing with that afterwards? Can I take that home?
No,
Can
man,
I
gotta get it to the wife.
She's got plenty of those.
Yeah.
Plenty of those. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Thanks for joining us. It was a fun day. It started with, of course, the pregame ceremonies. It ends with the Cowboys putting up 40 points and a complete effort. Both offense and defense showed out in this one. What stood out to you the most, Isaiah?
Matt Eberflus made the change in terms of his defensive scheme from playing his type of defense, which is primarily a zone defense, 2 high safeties, and he made the change to do with the players that he has does best, and that is play man-to-man, in-your-face type sticky defense. I like the fact that he was humble enough to go ahead and make that change, and the players responded, and they only allowed 200 yards passing by the Washington Commanders.
And I've been very critical on our linebackers and our up-front players, and they played well today.
Jadeveon
Clowney had a great day. Donovan Azaraku had a great day, and our linebackers had a great day. And, hey, I love them.
Hey, and Nate Newton had a great day of the pronunciations across the board.
Hey,
You're
trying,
learning.
man.
You're getting them all. You got Azaraku there. That was really good. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of how this one unfolded. It, of course, started with guys like Roger Staubach and Drew Pearson, both sides of the Hail Mary, 50 years after the fact, throwing out a ceremonial pitch and catch on the sideline. The Cowboys got their offense started early. Dak Prescott given time to throw, lofts it up into the end zone for George Pickens. Marshawn Lattimore called for the push. The pass interference would put Dallas at the 1. They would punch it in one play later. The Dallas defense gets a stop on their opening defensive stand. But on the punt, look at this punt all the way down to the 1-yard line, trickles all the way to the goal line. Tress Way put it on the money, and it backs the Cowboys up against their own end zone. The Cowboys on the next play trying to get out of that end zone. Javonte Williams pushed backwards. It's a safety for the Commanders defense. They would also take advantage on the free kick situation, driving inside the Dallas 10. Jaden Daniels with time to throw himself, and he finds Zach Ertz, the tight end, who has killed the Cowboys so many times in the end zone for 6, and they would not convert on the 2-point conversion. Dallas kicking a field goal, going back up 10-8, and then after another defensive stop, they would start their drive. This was the first play from scrimmage on the drive. C.D. Lamb works open. He breaks free after a broken tackle, and then he's off to the races, 74 yards to the house. His first game back, his first score in his first game back. Good to see him on the field. Brandon Aubrey, midway through the second quarter, put Dallas up 20-8. This was significant because it was from 61 yards out, his 5th of 60 or more in his career, most in NFL history. Washington, though, would cut it back within a possession, 20-15 after this Jaden Daniels 1-yard scramble into the end zone. Dallas had about 40 seconds to work with. They didn't even need all 40. How about this? Drop it in a bucket. Dak Prescott to George Pickens down the left sideline. He points for the first down. It's a gain of 44 again. George Pickens showing that he has wide receiver 1 capability. He ended up with 80-plus yards in this one. Dak Prescott gives it to Javonte Williams on the next play from scrimmage. He works into enemy territory inside the 10, stiff arms a defender, and he's finally taken down at the 1-yard line. Dallas on the doorstep again. Dak Prescott stepping up and finding Jake Ferguson in the end zone for the touchdown. It was 27-15 Dallas at the halftime break. Going into the third quarter, it was much of the same for the Dallas defense. They were able to provide some stops. This was their first takeaway. A sack from Jaden Daniels. He would not return after a hamstring injury on this play. His fumble recovered by Jadeveon Clowney, and it sets up this scoring drive to Jake Ferguson. His second of the day, his career-high 6th touchdown grab of the year. Next offensive possession, Marcus Mariota is at quarterback. He does a good job of avoiding pressure here, staying alive, but he gets hit as he throws this football. Deron Bland runs underneath it, and the pick six king is back. He runs it all the way to the house for his first pick six of the 2025 campaign, and that would do it. The Cowboys able to tack on a couple more points, but that would put them over the 40-point plateau. It's 40 burgers for the Cowboys against the Washington Commanders. Brian Schottenheimer and company get their second NFC East win of the season after defeating the Giants earlier at home in the campaign, taking down former Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn in the process. 44-22 the final, as we leave you with these final stats presented by Miller Lite. It was an all-around effort from the Cowboys as they get it done. We got to see CeeDee Lamb back in the fold for Dallas in this one. He and George Pickens had a huge impact on this game. We're going to hear from both of the Cowboys wide receiver ones. Yeah, I said that right. Both wide receiver ones when we come back with more Cowboys game.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Get it for the fourth time. Prescott, a lot of time, airs it out deep down the field. CeeDee Lamb breaks the tackle, no one home. Touchdown, Dallas.
CeeDee Lamb, 74 yards to the house. It's so good to see him back in the fold, and the impact that he made on the game today was apparent. Over 100 yards receiving, including 74 on that play alone. Back with Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Let's hear from not only CeeDee Lamb, but also George Pickens, the number one, number two, or number one duo from this Cowboys team, as you really looked at what they did across the board. I think it was really impressive what they were able to do from the jump. You saw George Pickens on that opening drive, a pass interference that pushed it down the field. I thought what he did early, but seeing CeeDee Lamb back was a big one too.
Yeah, absolutely. CeeDee Lamb being opposite of George Pickens was huge. We all had questions in regards to how that tandem was going to work, especially after the recent success with George Pickens. But as you will see, and you did see, CeeDee Lamb did his thing. Obviously, you saw the deep over, but with the deep post behind it, George Pickens was able to clear it out, and CeeDee Lamb does what CeeDee Lamb does best. They were able to get the ball in his hands at the line of scrimmage, push the ball downfield, line him up in the slot, line him up on the outside. It was one of the biggest traits for CeeDee Lamb is he can play all over the place, and we're starting to hear him and this entire receiving core start to talk about how everybody can contribute in that regard, and that's what's going to make them so dangerous as a unit.
Everybody was wondering, was he going to be on a snap count? As we see this game, he was not on a snap count. He didn't miss a beat. He was in the slot, like you say, he was outside. He made a call. And you know what, man? You know receiving the quarterback make it good when you can wave at the quarterback. Say, look here, man, I'm wide open. And that's what's happened right there. Boom. And he takes it to the house, man. He gets with his boy right there, and they finna do some things in the end zone.
Yeah, that was fun. You could see George Pickens was enjoying that as well. George, I mean, we've talked about him week after week after week. Another game where he has at least 50 yards. His streak of touchdowns comes to a close, but still making a huge impact, whether it's pass interference penalties or just going up and making the play in coverage. What did you see from Pickens today?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you bring up the pass interference because every game that him and CeeDee Lamb have played together, he's drawn a big-time pass interference down the field. He is a game changer. He's a person who's making an impact on this team. Obviously, they're going to continue to figure out how they both can play off each other, but you see the excitement there. Even when he's not catching the ball, he had 80 yards tonight as well, which he was very productive. But even when he's not catching the ball, he sees his boy catching the ball, making big plays. He's excited because he understands that he impacted that play. When you get that continuity and that chemistry going together, those two is one heck of a tandem, and I'm just hopeful that the Cowboys go ahead and secure him for the future.
He's just a guy that when he runs his route, man, he's just smooth. You know, you can see basketball players like that play at a different rhythm. He's just real smooth. Before you know it, he's by you. And now you shielding him. Number two, I can't remember the young man's name.
Marshawn Lattimore.
Bruh, he had a bad day, man. He had a bad day.
George made sure of it because his ability to track the ball is better than I've seen from anybody, I would say, outside of somebody I played with in Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Wow. Randy Moss was just smooth like that too, right? Just made everything look really easy. And when the ball come, his hands just kind of found a way to it. George Pickens is very much so like that. Very smooth, kind of methodical. You would kind of mix up his effort for being a lack of effort until he gets open, and then until his hands get to the ball, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, crap, big play.
Right.
Yeah, and then you have to put some respect on his name. But he's doing great things for this Cowboys offense right now.
Yeah, he really has. And over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns in his first 7 games with the team. It's pretty good stuff across the board. When we come back here on Cowboys Game Night, we got to give credit to this Cowboys defense. They put together their most complete performance to date here in the 25 season. The Cowboys defeat the Commanders 44-22. More Game Night next.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
(44-22) the final score. Dallas takes down Washington. Back alongside Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. What was that? Was that a
That's 4-4.
4-4?
Yeah,
44-22. They double them up in this Week 7 matchup. And give credit where credit is due on the defensive side of the football. You mentioned it at the top of the show, Isaiah. Matt Eberflus made some adjustments, and you could tell it made an impact. More press man, more man-to-man coverage across the board. A couple sprinkled in blitzes here and there, which is something we have not seen a ton of throughout the season up to this point. What was the biggest adjustment that you saw that led to the success that Dallas had on the defensive side?
Yeah, it's Matt Eberflus understanding via tape, right? He's had 6 games of film to watch guys kind of struggle in his system, which is typically zone, sit back, bend but don't break type of defense, and identify the fact that the personnel that you have, they do really well at pressing man, right? Your guys want to be aggressive. By having them play zone, you're asking them to be tentative. You're taking away what they do best. So let the dogs loose. Go and let these guys play man. You're struggling in the pass rush, so let me go ahead and help out my pass rush by sending Shamar James and sending single man blitzes, not exposing ourselves too much, but still being able to elicit some pressure, and you were able to get turnovers. You got a pick 6. You had a forced fumble in the back because of quarterback sacks. All these things happen because you were able to adapt and change to what your players do well. So kudos to whatever he did. I loved everything about it. Let's see more of it.
Early in the game, you saw where the defensive line were playing their gaps. Last week against Carolina, everybody was getting blown out, not playing their gaps. And this gives these young guys, these young linebackers, a chance to see. And if they can see, they can come down here. Our linebackers played better because our defensive line played their gaps.
Yeah, they definitely did. And you talked about the overall impact plays. Pick 6 for Deron Bland, fumble recovery for Jadeveon Clowney, first sack of Donovan Ezeraku's career, which was really cool.
Yes.
Clowney had another sack. Shamar James had double-digit tackles again, and you had an overall great performance from the defensive side. It's something to build on going up against a good Denver team next week. We also saw another multi-touchdown game for one Jake Ferguson. Nate Newton wants to talk about Jake at the tight end position when we come back. More Cowboys Game Night after this.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
In all the hullabaloo of the back and forth of CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Kevontae Turpin, Tyler Booker back on the offensive line, Jake Ferguson continues to get lost in the shuffle of the storylines, but Dak Prescott knows where Jake Ferguson is at all times. He's become the go-to safety blanket. There's a reason he's one of the NFL's reading reception leaders, and he had another 2 touchdowns today. Nate, I know you've been a big fan of Jake Ferguson since he was drafted a couple seasons back. It looks like he's back to his Pro Bowl form that he had in 2023.
This guy's just a worker, man. He's from Wisconsin. He's blue collar. He knows how to handle it. I love this guy, man, and I really don't want him to say anything about him. I love you, Jake.
Okay, so there's context to this, guys. There's context to this. Isaiah, you call him 5 yards is what you've called him.
Mr. 5 yards. And listen, that's
a good thing.
That's not a negative connotation.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I said that Jake's had 132 catches of all 5 yards. However, this dude is tied. I'm not sure where he's at after some of the other games, but coming into this game, he had 4 touchdowns. Now he has 6 touchdowns. Yeah. And he was tied. Now he's tied up with George Pickens for the team leader and one of the league's top leaders in terms of touchdowns. So, yeah, to your point, it doesn't matter if he's catching, down the yard, down the field catches, or he's just that security blanket that's just a red zone threat. Either way, he's being productive. Either way, he's scoring touchdowns for his team, and he's at the top of the league at his position. So, Nate, your boy Jake Ferguson, balling out, Mr. 5 yards.
He's playing really, really
I'm
well
about to run a
now.
route right now. Hold on.
Keep that in mind. Oh, there he is. 5 yards.
5 yards.
What do you
Right
say?
there.
One
Right
from
there.
6?
That's it.
There was a guy on the other sideline today, Zach Ertz, who did catch a touchdown pass, who made a career out of that type of play.
Right.
How much can Jake Ferguson continue to lead what this offensive passing attack can be?
It's huge because what Jake does, I want to say what he does best, but one of the things that he does that gets looked over is his running game blocking. Right, his run game blocking, and it allows for him to do those things in the play-action game. And that's why he's able to go out there and get the ball on some of these shorter passes, because you have a George Pickens, you have a CeeDee Lamb, you got a Turpin running off. Guess what? That secondary has to back off. Those linebackers have to gain depth to try to get underneath some of those deeper routes. So, yeah, he's going to be the guy who's the underneath guy who can be that Johnny on the spot and security blanket for Dak. That is perfect for him. Continue to do your run blocking. You'll allow more play action, and you'll continue to get the ball.
Yeah, it's certainly a big part of this Cowboys offense continuing forward. When we come back, we're going to have to give Isaiah's dogs. We're going to have Nate's dogs of the game. The Cowboys take care of business, 44-22 the final score. We've got more Cowboys game night, wrapping up a big win for the boys when we come back.
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Cowboys fans, if you had fun today, be sure to head to the Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium for a free watch party presented by 7-Eleven. Next week as the Cowboys face off against the Denver Broncos on Sunday, October 26th. Doors open at 2 p.m. Kickoff is at 3:25. Enjoy a performance by the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Slurpee samples, $5 Miller Lights, and a whole lot more. Claim your free ticket at dallascowboys.com/watch party. Wrapping things up on Cowboys OT, the Cowboys are taking on the Denver Broncos in the Mile High City, where the New York Giants took on Denver today. And what a battle this was. Bo Nix runs it in with under 2 minutes to play to take a lead as time winds down. Then Jackson Dart, the rookie quarterback out of Ole Miss, dives to the end zone. He's ruled in, but New York misses the extra point. They left an opportunity on the table for the Denver Broncos, who drove down and kicked a game-winning field goal as time expired. 33-32 the final as Denver takes down the Giants, who fall to 2-5. Denver is 5-2 for a reason. They are a really good football team, and they're going to take on the Cowboys next week. Wrapping things up with Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and you've got your Denver colors on today. Get it out of the way today,
Out of it.
And then you're off next week.
Retiring.
How do the Cowboys keep this momentum going?
They have to go out and dissect everything that Denver is doing, both offensively and defensively. This is a well-coached team. Sean Payton is one of the best. That's why you heard his name in the murmurs whenever there's opportunities here. He's one heck of a coach. This defense has a lot of talent. It's probably the first defense that you're going to face this year that can match up man for everybody that you have offensively.
He's one of the most hands-on guys I've known since Jimmy Johnson. Everything goes through him. Offense, defense, he's got his finger on it. And they, like you said, they are well coached, and they're going to be waiting on the Cowboys because they're going to try to stop that run.
That's the big thing. They're going to try and take something that you do best away from you. That's one of what Denver has done this year. If that's the Cowboys, what do they do best right now?
They're running the ball effectively. And that's the one thing. They had one game this year, obviously last week, that they did not run the ball, but that running game allows for everything else to happen with Dak and his offense.
Yes, sir. Let's go, Ferg.
You just want Jake Ferguson to continue what he's doing. It'll be a 3:25 kickoff next week from the Mile High City in Denver. We'll have Cowboys pregame live for you starting at 2 p.m. Central Time on DallasCowboys.com. Once again, the Cowboys get it done in an NFC East battle. It was Cowboys homecoming with all sorts of alumni all honored prior to the game, and the Cowboys showed out in front of their former Cowboys. 44-22 the final score. Dallas over Washington. So long from Cowboys Game Night.